The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. Right before we started, a crazy video of Emily from Noah's archives of video to play just started playing. Gen Z of you crying at the movie. Yeah. What was the movie that you were crying about?
My Old Ass.
My Old Ass. Yeah, definitely recommend seeing that. But that just randomly came up. Sean O'Connor is here. Brian Frangie is here.
Yo.
Noah's here. We're in Los Angeles, California. What is that? What were you just about to
We're in Los Angeles.
We're
Yeah.
doing it, baby.
I mean, this is it. The city is thriving.
Yeah, it's California dreaming.
It is. Wait, is the city thriving? You get
No,
that
it
vibe?
just suffered one of the hugest tragedies of its history, and it's
Yeah?
falling. The industry is imploding.
So you were being
homelessness is on the rise.
sarcastic?
Yeah, no, being in LA is one of the worst places to be, I think, in the world.
Oh, that's not
Other
true.
than Kiev.
No, this is
I'd rather be in Kiev.
Honestly, even with everything going to shit, LA is still a
It's
top
not cold.
4 city.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you guys
nice.
been to a lot of cities lately. Is it?
We have.
But Ontario, I mean,
Victoria, Canada was I want to just tell all the besties straight up, Victoria, British Columbia is one of
Yeah.
the most beautiful cities
Unreal.
ever.
yeah.
God, everyone should move there and
Yes.
ruin it. It is perfect. It is honestly, it was so quaint and lovely that
Yeah.
their busker was an old man playing the bagpipes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It was really, really beautiful. They have Christmas, a Christmas light kind of outline on every building, but it's not Christmas lights. They're spaced apart enough that it doesn't give Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Is
the
it
coolest
white
thing-
lights or colored lights?
White lights.
Yeah,
And
so that's,
every city should do that.
That's like winter.
Why
Yeah.
isn't every city doing this? I
Culver
don't
City
know.
does it.
It's so cute. It makes everything pop. It just looks. It's giving. It just. It was I was so mad at America for not stealing that, and I think we should.
Yeah, we will
it was
soon.
a harbor town. It was it's on an island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's right off the coast of Vancouver. It's so lovely. Oh my God, we should steal it.
Let's
we need
do
it.
it. It is the Canadians do not have a sense of humor about us possibly stealing them, and I didn't know the gravity of the situation before I went
no.
there, and then I researched it, and I'm like, oh, this isn't.
They're mad.
They should be.
They're boycotting American goods.
good.
No.
Yeah.
They have every right to.
Yeah.
We suck.
I would be furious.
The Canadians
I
whipped
wouldn't
our
even
ass
come to
in
my show
hockey.
if I were them. I'm shocked they still support
You're
an
American good.
I'm an American good.
Yeah.
I'm American bad. Most days I'm American mediocre. That is true. I am wait, are they going to still show at these
Yeah.
shows?
You have a lot.
You pay
of Canada
taxes
shows.
in America, so therefore part of the money that they pay to see your show
Don't
is going
walk
to
them through this.
is going to Trump
No.
and Doge.
Listen, Nikki is a stand-up. She has no allegiance to the American government. She is not corn. Don't eat our corn. Go to the show.
I'm not Jack Daniels. What else are they not eating? There was something else.
Vermont maple syrup. They're
Yeah.
Canadian
Yeah,
syrup.
what are our great
Lumber.
exports?
That Trump wants to cut down all of our national forests
Loud
so that we can
people.
compete with the lack of lumber that we're going to no longer get from
Yeah,
Canada.
we have more Josh Gads than any other country.
I will say that I love performing in Canada because you can say things on stage politically that you can't say here because your audience is split here. No matter, I mean, for me at least, they're split, and I appreciate that. Both
That's
sides.
amazing.
It's crazy, and
That's
so
perfect.
Whenever I do say something, those who know, and those who don't know just go along with it because they can't really tell what I'm doing.
In fact,
generally.
I would say
But up
you might be
there-
one of the only, in the top, you're in the top 20 comedians in the world. You might be the only one that did it with that type of swath. Who has a direct,
I'm trying to
the people
Ali
who are,
Wong, I bet has.
No.
Taylor Tomlinson probably has.
no, they're definitely, I think they're all,
Really?
yeah, they're all left.
I don't think so. Taylor Tomlinson's not.
Taylor Tomlinson?
No, I
Yeah.
bet she's split down the middle.
She's
Because
split?
she started in the Christian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nate, I think, even though you would think he has a lot from the right, I think
Yeah.
a lot from the. I think comedy actually
Okay,
keeps
so it is
people
split.
pretty down.
It's down the
I
middle.
don't think it's that as hard to do because I'm not trying to do that. I just don't want to know in the audience who voted for him because I don't want to like feel sad about the country. Like I just don't want to focus on it. So that's why I kind of steer away from that stuff. But up in Canada, when you even say his, because I have a joke that says his name, but it isn't like it would in America. It never indicates to me what side people are on. I don't really care. And I don't even want to hear from the left side, by the way. I don't want people like, fuck Trump. I don't want that either.
No, that's annoying.
I just want to say his name and have it be a joke and not have to like incite a riot.
That's how it used to be.
Even though this weekend it like really like it distracted me. Like the second you said his name, like in it was Portland, Maine. Those people. That's a quiet, quaint fishing village town,
but they've got attitude.
There's an anger simmering in Portland, Maine, and I love you guys, but you all dress like hippies. You all dress like you're doing that, in where you connect to the wires between trees and you balance on them, like, and you play frisbee and hacky sack and you listen to like Dar Williams. But you're mad about
from their
some
conception, they've been discarded. They're the second Portland, even though they were the first Portland.
They do not have a sense of humor about that.
They don't.
And you were right, because we were writing roast jokes about Portland, Maine, and Brian's headline at the top was, "Hey, by the way, Portland, Maine does not have a sense of humor about itself." And I called them out on it on the second show because I was like, "Hey, by the way, we all know you don't have a sense. That's why like these aren't even as hard as they should be.
Yeah,
I'm going light on you guys, so just open your minds a little bit and know that you are all pussies."
They were very interesting in what they went along with, like denigrating them at all, being like, "You guys are the second most popular Portland." They're pissed off.
Yeah,
but being like, "You all have DUIs," they're like,
they love celebrating their alcoholism. But I will say I loved those crowds, and they just I would be a little bit angry too. I feel like Maine feels forgotten. Like no one, everyone makes fun of Maine. It almost feels like Canada up there.
Yeah, it does.
Like I feel like we have forgotten Maine, even though it's a beautiful state, and Portland, Maine really is like a very cute town. It's awesome. It's a colder. Because when we were in Victoria, it was beautiful, like abnormally beautiful. So it's kind of like Victoria. There's like a harbor and
absolutely. Like to me, like Portland, Maine felt like the city in Jaws without the shark. Like there was like nothing to actually worry about. So it was like just people like bicycling and like walking in 7-degree weather, and they're like weird that you look cold.
Yeah.
Like I saw a guy in shorts like outside of a dispensary, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yes, it was. We don't know if people were dressing as fishermen because they're fishermen or ironically was like the vibe there.
That's Portland, Maine.
But when you're in Canada, back to what I was saying. Oh, by the way, Gen Z M is here. I forgot to say
Did we
that.
not say that? Well, we said she was in video.
And I'm sorry that I didn't repeat it. But and she was there with us this weekend as well. But in Canada, you can say, if you want to go scream about Trump on stage, they'll have it. And you can go buck wild for a little bit of time, and no one's going to walk out. No one's going to get offended. No one's going to film it.
Well, they're mad at him, too.
Yeah, I didn't realize like, I knew that they would be, but I didn't know. I kind of indulged in it a couple times because it just felt like, when your mom leaves and you could scream into a pillow and be like, "I hate you!" It just felt like,
it's like you're a comedian in 2006.
Yeah.
I mean,
it felt free.
It was magical. Like when you were talking about it, the pops that you were getting were like Martin Lawrence hosting Def Jam.
It was explosive.
Honestly, it's like it was like you were talking about funky drawers in 1993.
And I didn't bask in it too long, but I was just like, okay, I'm gonna enjoy this while I can. This is like, it was like the feeling of when I took my shirt off on a Bert Kreischer tour. And I was like, this was fun to do for a second. And I felt free. And I was like, oh, this is a different feeling on stage. But it was really nice to just let her rip up there. And I had no idea that you could. I mean, I guess, I don't know what I was thinking. Of course you can. But they are very upset.
Yeah.
The most magical thing in the world, though, was like, because you did that, and then like people were like, "Woo!" And then you had a joke about how Justin Trudeau was hot, and everyone booed him.
Oh my God, we had no idea they hate Justin Trudeau as much as they hate Trump.
It's coming back though, because Canadian nationalism's on the rise because of Trump, and so now Trudeau is a little bit more popular than probably even
not 2 weeks ago.
Probably even 2 weeks
like
ago.
The booze if you were performing in Vermont about Trump.
Yeah.
Like and saying Trump is hot in Vermont. Like it was, I had to change the joke. It was a good joke, but I was like, I can't do that. So we go backstage and I go, guys, what? They hate Trudeau. Like what's going on? Because we kind of all didn't understand. We knew he was leaving. He resigned, but like we didn't know he was like, I didn't know he was like pushed into resignation sanctioned by the country. And I opened this article that was like, why do Canadians hate Justin Trudeau? And it was like coming from America, it was like reading about a boyfriend who like sometimes like, I don't know, like farts in bed and you're like leaving him, and I'm in a relationship where I'm getting beat every night and thrown downstairs, and like he's calling me a dumb whore, and like, you know what I mean? Like it was like the reasons were like the blackface incident was the biggest one.
Yeah. Well, did you make fun of him for that?
Yeah, but it was like, I said, like, he's hot. You think I care about blackface? I'm from Missouri. Like, I made a joke that, which is obviously I do care about blackface. Please don't come at me. But that was his biggest crime to them. And also, like, one time he went on vacation during a national holiday that's supposed to
During a holiday?
So it was a holiday to celebrate indigenous peoples who the land had been taken from, and he was he like went surfing that day or something, which yes, that doesn't look good, but like in the scheme of things.
Ted Cruz went to Cancun when his city was out of electricity, and Karen Bass went to Ghana when the city burned
down. And then
down.
I screamed at them the next set. I go, you don't like Trudeau? Give me I go, I just read an article. I read every single reason. You don't get to. Do you know where I come from? I was like, that's
You're
not
from the
fair.
streets now.
And they really liked it. They got it. Like, I was like, how dare you?
It was so funny.
It was like Obama's beige suit kind of incident. You know, where we look back and we're like, they got mad at he wore a beige suit or something.
Well,
they were like,
we know what that was.
They were like, they turned their nose up because he like shook a guy who might have been a Nazi's hand at like Parliament,
and he didn't know. Like, it was like he didn't know the guy was a Nazi.
And then like Nikki's joke was like, it was like, and our Secretary of Defense is a Nazi.
It was wild, but we had a fun time on the road this weekend. So I was flying to Hartford on Friday. I'm in the lounge, the American Airlines lounge at St. Louis Airport, which I didn't know existed until this Friday, even though I fly out of that airport literally twice a week or whatever. Because I think I just get there just in time to make my flight because I know the timing so well that I'm not like hanging out. But I went to the lounge. I'm like, oh, cool lounge here. And so I'm sitting there. I forgot what I was like doing on my phone, but then I just get a text from my mom that's like, Nikki, I just want to let you know that we let Goldie out this morning to go pee before she ate, and she never came back, and she's been gone for about 45 minutes, and we don't know where she went, and we're going to go, drive around the neighborhood now and look for her. And I was just like, oh, she's been gone 45 minutes. Like, I wasn't like panicked.
Yeah.
And also I can't be, because there's nothing I can do. I don't know what that is in me that like doesn't get fucked up about stuff that's an emergency when I can't do anything. But I think it's a logical part of my brain that more people should adopt, that you shouldn't start crying and shaking and panicking when there's literally nothing that's going to do.
Yeah.
Like when you're on a plane, doing this isn't going to make the plane be better. It might help you.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like anything you think is like, I think in the moment I feel a little callous because I was kind of just like, okay, and then I just went back to my podcast. Like, I literally, and then I was even like, why are you going back to the podcast? Why are you going back to watching reels? And I'm thinking about the dog, obviously, and I'm trying to distract myself.
It's a good survival instinct in a crisis, but at some point, whether you like it or not, those emotions will need to be processed.
They'll catch up with me. But I'm not letting them catch up with me until my dog is dead. Like, I refused in this. So this led to So 8 a.m, and she wasn't found until I think it was probably 9:30 at night, St. Louis time.
It was nighttime.
Yeah, so it went. It was 13 and a half hours that she was missing.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is so long. So I went through all the emotions. Like I go on the plane, and I'm like, they'll find her within an hour. Like it was almost like the first 48. Like you're like,
oh, she's probably just like on the other side of the fence.
Totally. Yeah. Or like maybe she's just down in this creek that's like, but like she just got out of a hole in the fence that my dad repaired the day before because my dog Luigi was getting out, because they always find a way out.
Yeah, they can dig under.
And so Luigi and Marion just came back right to the door to like, ready to eat, and Marion and Goldie is just abandoned, which Chris and I are like, what the fuck?
They got out also?
No, they just came back to eat because they go out to pee and then they come back in to eat. So it's like a 2-minute thing.
Goldie's too young. She wants to run around.
They were like bullying her and she had to run away.
I can't even. I'm so mad at them for letting her just not come back and not being like, "Hey, come back," even though I don't even know that's how dogs communicate. But my dad went to go brush his teeth, let the dogs out, and came back minutes later. Goldie's not there. So then the panic ensues, and so I go on the plane and I sleep a little bit on the plane, but I have dreams about her, and then I wake up and I'm checking my phone, and my and Chris's number are on her collar. And everyone's telling me, start calling the shelter. Like, we land, she's still not found. Start calling the shelters. Ask if they got reported, if someone found a dog and turned it in. I'm like, but wouldn't they call me? Like, the number's on her fucking collar. Like, people have a lot of ideas. Like, I know it's being helpful, but Anya's like, you need to post it on your story. And I'm like, okay, no, because all that is going to make people go, oh my God, I'm so sorry your dog's missing. Oh my God, flooded hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so scary. Let us know what she's found. So much panic about everyone else who's seen her on my story. I don't need to have that coming at me. And the good it would do, I'm trying to measure it. I'm like, am I putting my not ego of my dog's loss. I don't really care. Losing your dog is not I'm not a bad person. My parents aren't bad dog owners. This could happen to literally anyone. They had a fenced yard.
Right, you could get attacked for this.
Yeah, and I don't even care about that because I know that I did nothing wrong. So I would come at people so fucking
state.
hard. Yeah, and the people I trusted are good people. They are dog owners for years and years.
I mean,
decades.
They raised you.
Yeah. And look, I'm
you
a good
didn't
dog.
get away.
Yeah, I got away as soon as I could, but I'm thriving once I get away. So I thought Goldie, might really become a famous comedian, but she, so I was just like, because Anya's like, post it on your story, and I'm like, is me not posting this on my story gonna make her not found? But I said to Anya, I think 0.0000001% of my followers live within a 2-mile radius of where she's missing. And the chance that they're gonna, she's like, well, you could get the word out. It honestly, it would not have helped in the end.
Is J-Lo gonna fly to St. Louis and look for your dog?
It's just creating alarm that doesn't need to be done and then on top I go, and when she's found, I have to report it to everyone. There's going to be a flood of DMs being like, we're so glad she's found, which is all very lovely. And people just mean well. I would do the same thing if one of my friends posted that their dog was missing. I understand why people do that. I just didn't want the attention. But even then, Anya, I guess, posted my parents posted on Facebook, on a local Facebook, which makes more sense.
Yes.
Because I don't have a local Facebook. And then Anya took that and posted it on her Facebook. And so I was getting messages from Anya's fans being like, I heard that Goldie's missing. I'm like, this is annoying. You're in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And no offense to that person who messaged me. I wasn't annoyed at you, you found out, but I was annoyed, this doesn't help anything. But I think people just need to do everything they can. But sometimes I think everything you can is not the best method. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to defend that because I feel like I seem to be a little bit maybe we'll do that. But I had Emily make posters immediately because we were driving to Hartford from Boston. We landed in Boston. Emily made a missing poster. We sent it to Kinko's. My mom printed it up. They put it around the neighborhood. Taylor McGraw from the podcast drove, because she watches Goldie sometimes when my parents can't, drove to my parents' neighborhood and went looking for her all day long with my parents and put up posters and talking to neighborhood kids. And she was like, she's going to get found. Someone spotted her around. She was spotted at 5 p.m. or something. And so we knew she was still alive, within a quarter mile of our house. And so I was kind of feeling chill about it. Chris was 100% sure a coyote got her because a coyote was spotted on the next door app.
Was he in St. Louis or was
No, he was here.
He was here.
And not feeling good. He was already sick. And he would have flown right away to go find her.
Right.
He was going to fly out the next morning with a terminal illness. He seems like he literally
It's the second time that happened to him.
What?
That he was sick and he couldn't fly somewhere because of it. Because didn't that happen over
He's getting sick a lot.
Thanksgiving or something?
He's working himself ragged.
He's ragged.
He wouldn't let me say that, but he works too hard and his immune system is suffering. And so he was going to fly out and because a coyote was spotted on the next door app, in the radius of the yard, but then we didn't hear any barking. The dogs all would have been barking. Goldie has this thing where if we go to a dog park that has no dogs in it, she will freeze. She can't even walk in it because she smells big dogs.
Uh-huh.
So she can smell big dogs and she can't, I'll know when a big dog is near because she just freezes and starts shaking because they can smell them. So if she would have smelled a coyote,
She would freeze.
That's probably why she. Yeah.
She was just frozen somewhere in a field.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And so I just knew that the dogs were not gonna like be chill if a coyote.
I just want to
was
say an
there. They would
important
bark,
lesson to
maybe.
glean from this for anybody is that when someone's having a tragedy or a crisis or something like that, you don't do what you want to do. You ask them, what can I do for you? And you do what they say. If they say, you know what, it would be nice if you just left me alone, or if they say, I could really use food or whatever.
But my friends were panicking like it was their own dog, which I really appreciated.
Right.
Like they all were like crying and praying. They don't even pray. Sarah Lena made her husband pray, and she was like, she said he was very confused. But Sarah, like everyone on the girls chat was like, it was so sweet how they almost cared more than I did, because I wasn't really letting it in, because I was like, I cared. I did everything I did to find her, but I'm like, I think she's just gonna, based on all the stories people were telling me about dogs that had gone missing all day. Emily had a story. The dog finds its way back. You get the word out in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's like a cat.
Yeah.
But it had a collar on. It's microchipped. Like,
Yeah.
if it ends up somewhere, someone's gonna call me. So the fact that no one called me meant she was not in someone's possession, or if she was, they had stolen her, and I was never going to see
Lady
her again, and
Gags.
someone just has her now.
Yeah.
Which, okay, like even I played that out, and I'm like, if someone wants a dog that bad, they're not going to beat it. Like, at least she'll have a good life, maybe. I
try to
mean, they're
sell
a
it.
psychopath.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll sell it to someone who likes, if a child gets kidnapped, their fate is not good. Like, it's not often that they're kidnapping a child, so they can give it a great home.
Yeah,
It's
usually they
like,
get eaten by a coyote.
True. And so it's I was like kind of hopeful that maybe if she, like, in my mind, I'm like, if she gets stolen, she disappears without a trace, I'll hope that someone stole her. Or if it's coyote, I hope it was a fast death, and at least she provided food to a starving animal that's been displaced because of construction. I was like rationalizing everything, and I was talking to Chris on the phone, like, we had really like good 8 months with her, and this is a
That's
mistake.
it?
Yeah,
It's only
I
been
got
8
her
months?
in June.
Whoa.
And I just bought a fucking house for this dog. So
Yeah.
I literally went under contract the day before for a house that I'm literally only getting so I can have a yard, so I can have a dog, because my dog doesn't like to go out in the neighborhood I live in.
It's
Because
a long walk from the apartment hall
it's
to the
quarter of a mile.
Well, here's the thing. Like,
a quarter of a
even
mile.
dogs, they don't change as hard. So, like,
Yeah.
she was just acting
You think
out.
this was a protest?
Yes,
This was a runaway from home situation?
She's getting cold feet about the house as well.
Yeah.
The one that
Like, all of her memories are so tied up in your apartment.
oh my
that-
God.
Yes.
Do you remember when Lady Gaga's dog walker right here in Hollywood was shot?
Yes.
Yeah, and then
to all the celebrities whose dogs have gone missing that I've heard about through the years, and I have felt for, I feel for you so much harder. And to all the, like, now I know what it's like to like think that something you love has been taken like very quickly. Like, listen, I have empathy for people who lose their dogs to sickness, or like, and when it's fast. Or like, when it's like, I have friends that their 18-year-old dog just died, or 19-year-old dog. And it's kind of like, that's like when someone loses a grandma, like, you're sad for that person, but it's like, we see this coming, like, you're on borrowed time, like, let's all wrap our heads around it. But when your dog is stolen or just disappears, or like, I don't want a kid now at all. Like, Chris and I decided like 100% the pain we suffered this weekend for those 13 hours, literally not worth. I imagine the pain I felt is what you feel if you're out of town and your kid has an earache.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, a
Yeah.
kid is like so much more than a dog. So I'm like
Right.
trying to even like put it, like, if your kid is suffering in any way and you can't be there for it, like, I just don't want that.
Yeah.
So all day I'm stressed out. The second I get alone, because Emily and I drive to Hartford, the second I get alone in my hotel, I like squeeze out a couple tears. But I'm also like, I don't want to cry, because that means
what
I've
you call that?
accepted. What?
Yeah.
That's what you call that?
I literally was just like trying to cry because all my friends are like tearing up about it. My
Yeah.
mom can't stop crying. Chris is crying. Like, everyone seems to be really emotional, and it's like, she's my dog and I'm not emotional. It's like, because of course I was a fucking wreck. I think I lost like 5 fistfuls of hair because of the stress of like
the stress.
Yeah.
of
This
talking
is,
about
Grief
this
is
is
denial.
a clue.
denial. I
Yeah.
jumped to that
grieving.
stage. And I also was like in acceptance. I was like, she's gone.
Yes.
She died. I'm going to get on with my life. It's going to be hard to get a new dog. I'm not going to anytime soon. I already told, like, I wrote to the girls chat, like, don't anyone buy me a painting of my dog. Don't get anything with my dog's picture on it. I don't want to see it. Like, I almost was like, but I didn't put that out there because I thought that was like, I wrote it and then I erased it because I said, oh, that means that I think that she's definitely gone. But if she would have been gone, I would have said, I don't want anything with her face on it. I don't want to be reminded of her. Like, I was already preparing for that. But then, I cried a little bit, but I couldn't really get anything out. So I called Chris to cry because when you talk to someone about something, usually it like comes out.
Yeah.
And he didn't pick up. So I was just like, what the fuck? So I just went and worked out. I'm like, am I allowed to work out when my dog is missing? Like, I don't know what else to do. And then we went to the show and I had the first show. And honestly, when I was on stage, I literally forgot about my dog
that's
missing.
the beauty of the stage.
I couldn't believe it.
A
I
magical
thought, how
place
am I
where all
gonna
your
do
problems
this?
go away for a short time.
First show in Hartford, had a great time on stage.
Yeah.
Walked off stage, immediately felt the pain and the stress again. But like, you keep things light. I'm kind of joking about it because I just don't want to let it in. And then the second show, it's now dark in St. Louis. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like when it got 6
coyote
o'clock,
time,
it's
yeah.
coyote time.
You still had hope.
It's the witching hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when it gets dark, I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, well, she was on an island for 5 days before I got her. Like,
That's true.
She's a survivor. This was less than a year ago. She was out in the woods by herself.
Yeah, she's not going to die. She's just going to work harder.
She knows what Okay, we'll finish the story when I get back from break. And we're back. So then, start the second show, and right before the second show, I think I was backstage with you guys. Like, if
I said to you, I was like, wait, like, how cool would it be if like we found her mid-show? Like, would you want me to run on stage and say something?
I was like,
and you were like, yeah,
Wow.
100%, go do it.
Question.
You responded it so quickly, being like, yeah, but it also felt like you're like, that's never going to happen.
It was
So
just
like,
yeah, right.
please walk on stage.
Like, I dare you. Yeah, it really was that vibe. You're so right. Because like when it was night. It was now 9 o'clock at night. There, I was like, it's done. Like, it's been 3 hours of darkness. She's just hunkered down for the night. I pictured her and like she carved out a little like hole in a hollow tree or something, and it's just like scared and shaking and waiting because she hadn't eaten since the day before at like 5 o'clock when she eats. Like I was like, she's gone for over 24 hours without eating. Hopefully she got into some trash or something and found something to eat that day.
Water even.
Oh my God.
She needs to be checked
Brian.
for... What?
I didn't even think about water.
You should probably go take her to the vet to be checked for worms.
Oh.
Because she might have drank puddle water.
Oh my gosh.
She, by the way, absolutely.
She 100%
When
did.
you get away, like she was eating trash. She was like drinking up the creek.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm doing my podcast, and Brian just had a really good point that Goldie could have eaten from puddles during the day she was gone, and so we should have her checked for worms, period. Okay, good to know. We'll do that this week. Thank you for that. I just dictated a text, by the way. So then I'm on stage in Hartford, and I do a joke about Goldie being
You
missing.
brought it up.
You bring it up.
I bring it up.
Yeah.
Was she found at that point?
No, literally, the
I got
text
the
comes
text
in
from your mom
1 minute after you
after.
say it on stage.
That's nuts.
This is this scratching the asshole joke?
It was I was talking about, I go, my dog is missing. And I said, she's been missing all day. This is really helping me, like, distract me from it. But the only good thing about having a missing dog as opposed to, like, a missing kid is I know that no one's trying to fuck my dog. Because that is true. Like,
That's great.
It was, like, some kind of relief that,
Except maybe another dog.
because if your dog, yeah, that's true. And then Sean's joke was, and if someone is, I don't want her back. You've ruined her. So I said that joke, and everyone kind of laughed. But I was like, she really is missing. It sucks so much. But thanks for coming out. And this actually does distract me. It's gonna be okay. Everything will be fine. And then a minute later, I just hear commotion on the side of the stage, and I like look over, and Emily's like, "They found her." They found her. Like, so adorable. And I'm like, what? And then I like looked at my phone and I was like, ah. And it was the best feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. Like, I will never feel, I hope I never feel a feeling that good again, because the only way to feel it is to be so discouraged and so sad. I know that I will, hopefully. I know I'll feel the other feeling again because scary shit happens in life. But like, to have a loss that you've kind of accepted 90% in your heart that it's like happened, and to have that relieved is like, and that she's safe was just I can't even. It's like transcends orgasm. Like it was the best feeling.
Yeah.
And then I had to like go back to my act, and that actually was hard to do.
Right.
It was harder to do my act on the tail of on the end of being that happy than it was when I was scared and sad.
That to me was the most magical part, is you going back to your act, because you were so elated.
Yeah.
Like honestly, there
was
was like a
jumping up and
glow that
down.
took over. You threw your arms up. You were jumping up
I
and
was
down.
like a child.
And then you were like,
then, like,
where
anyway.
was I? Oh, right, pedophile. And it was just so funny. You had to go.
Naturally, that's where I was after telling that joke a minute before. It really got me into my pedophile chunk. That's so funny. I didn't, because that I am very uncomfortable like being too like emotional on stage. Like I know like people like that a lot, and I just think that people overact when they're trying to like celebrate and get attention. I just don't want anyone to ever think I'm doing that.
I know. That's what it felt so weird of finding out a minute later,
Yeah.
where I'm like, this now feels like a setup.
I know, I like tried.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it would have been? Like, I could see any other comic being like, making just such a meal of it, and like, my dog's missing, and like trying to like get sympathy for it. Like, I don't want any sympathy for my
Right.
dog missing. I really didn't. It could happen to anyone. I'm not special because of it. Like, yeah, like my friends can have sympathy, but like the audience, like using that as a tactic for the audience to be on your side, or like, also I'd be like, fuck, I bought tickets to this show and now the performers all like sad and shit. Like, I didn't want to put that on them, so I didn't like indulge in the.
I'm not Nanette.
Yeah, like imagine doing Nanette all about your missing dog.
Yeah,
where it's like, is that what this
Where
is
Nanette's
about?
not a person.
For the rest of the show?
Yeah, I couldn't do that to people, and like, it would feel like I was hijacking the show with like, this is about, like, it's always about me, but at least I have jokes, you know. So then when it was really happy, I also was like, I don't want to be too much in this either, because they don't they only knew about my missing
Yeah.
dog for 30 seconds. They're not like in this moment as much. But then I looked back at the video, I was like, I should have stayed in a little bit more and let them celebrate, because I like instantly was like, oh, like I did a joke immediately where I was like, oh no, I can't get sympathy laughs anymore, because I was making jokes about how you guys have to laugh at that. My dog's missing. My dog is, you don't know my dog. Like I was doing the Parker Posey from Best in Show. And so I immediately made a joke after I was happy, and I was like, oh, that's like not watching it later on, I was like, you should like be a little bit more in the like, let people have a moment with you. Like, you don't need to rob them of that because you think that you're being manipulative when you're really not. You're like trying not to be manipulative, so then you are almost.
Yeah, they were also thrilled.
They were
when,
so
like,
happy.
So cute, but I just don't know why I project the audience member, like because I don't think that way. I would, if I was watching Kelsey Ballerini and her dog was missing and then it was found, I would be so excited to be like, let's celebrate this moment and give it a beat. But I always just think my audience member is like, oh, everything has to be about you, doesn't it? Oh, Nikki, were you sad that you when it went? Well, my mom died of cancer last month. Like, I just thought of the audience member being like, you're sad about your little missing dog for 13 hours. Like,
That's such an
whatever.
interest-
Like,
is that like the voice in your head?
yeah. Well, I think it's it's just like, I just don't want anyone to think that I think I'm cuh. And I think that sometimes people use like, this thing happened to me
Sure.
to be like, to get attention. And I just don't, I want attention through comedy. I don't want attention through things that, like my
Human
birthday,
strife.
things that I don't
Oh, yeah.
have control over.
Yeah.
But I think most people in this world are
Wait.
they're very like they're so basic, and
Yeah.
that we're the cynical people who are like, they don't want this, but
Yes.
they really do.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want a happy ending
They-
so much.
They want to. I need to. Like, I learned a lesson both as an artist that night, as a like. I don't know what I learned as like a human. I think I would have probably handled her disappearance the same way today if it happened, based on what I did that day. Like, everything was I felt right about. But I think as an artist, I would have like leaned into it a little bit more and had it be like a more celebratory moment, and like. Because why not? But there would have been in my mind the whole time someone being like, it's a dog, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I just, I always think about Patrice O'Neal's joke about like white women kissing their dogs. Or like there's something like they just get in there, and like how it's just like so white and privileged of me to be like, my little doggy who I rescued is gone. And I just like, you don't have a right to be sad. Whereas I sometimes see like Like Elizabeth Smart, I'd be milking that the rest of my life. If I survived something that horrific where I was in the woods, stolen from my house and raped every day for like months and months in the woods and no one could find me, I wouldn't be like, I don't really want to talk about this. I'd be like, no, you all have to listen to my struggle because nothing
Right.
you've been through is what I've been through.
Yeah, you could tour with that for like 20 years.
Yeah. Like if I go like if my parents die someday, I might have jokes about it, but unless it's like a thing that not everyone eventually has to go through, which is losing our parents, which hopefully that's the way it happens and it's not the other way. Like there are people in that audience who probably lost their children to like, and how dare I get up there and be like, my dog, like why do I do that?
Because but you have to realize that everyone in that audience is just there to have a nice time and they want to feel happy.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, honestly, if you bought tickets to you
to make I make my fans a bitch, and I'm sorry to that. Why am I making them judgmental bitches? But they're not.
No, they want to see you in all the ways. Just like if Elizabeth Smart was touring with her one-woman show Intense.
God.
It's like when a politician posts something online like about like there's been a lot of crime and we've decreased the crime rate in our state this year. We're very proud of the police officers. And then someone comments like, you did this whole speech without once mentioning Darfur.
Yeah,
and it's like, this has nothing to do with Darfur.
Oh, we talked about Darfur for so long, and then I haven't heard Darfur.
I think they fixed,
I was going to say Gaza, but then I didn't want to be too edgy.
Yeah, exactly. But you're so right. Everything comes back. If you read any comments, you will eventually see someone bringing that up of like, oh, so you care about this and not this?
And it's like,
yeah,
it's just a different thing.
That's the person I plant in
or
every
someone
audience.
goes,
oh, of
today,
course. That's how I view everyone in the world. But it's like truly the most miserable person online who is never paid to go out into the world.
They don't pay to go.
It doesn't even have to be a tragedy. It can be like, today's International Women's Day. Congratulations to International Women's Day. You don't even mention Darfur. It's like, this is not even a tragedy we're talking about.
Darfur is a cute dog name, though.
Yeah,
oh my God, it is good. So anyway, she was found.
How did they find her?
She just.
Oh yeah, how did they find her? The part where they found her.
My parents were watching Bill Maher. My mom is just like, my poor parents. They were
watching Bill Maher instead of watching
sad.
Goldie.
They were, that's what they do. And that's why she went missing, because they care too much about.
Yeah, new rule. Keep her in the house.
Well, new rule. I just sent them today like a little blow up kind of pillow you put around her head so she can't sneak through fences when she goes out there.
That's great.
Yeah, so we're preventing it.
Honestly,
and I put an air tag around her neck.
That's what Goldie deserves, though. Like, she should be shunned a little bit.
She needs to wear a donut that has a donut print on it for some reason. There was only one on Amazon. $22, arriving tomorrow, Mom. But no, they were just watching Bill Maher, 9:30 at night, and. Because I see, like, in the video where my dad is, like, talking to Goldie, I see Bill Maher froze on TV. But, they were watching Bill Maher, and then they have, like, there's, like, an outdoor door to a deck that's, like, on a second story that you have to, like, climb up these stairs to get the deck. And Goldie came back through the hole in the fence from which she came. Or maybe they left the gate open. I don't know what. And she came back in and came up through the back door where she would have originally gone to go get food in the morning.
Wait, she came back on her own?
On her own.
On her own.
Whoa.
Did she scratch at the door?
Oh my God, I'm going to miss
Scratched at the door.
Hakeem Jeffries on real time.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I don't know where Bill Maher is going to be this weekend. What casino? So she just scratched at the door like, I'm ready to eat.
She had like a Ferngully journey or whatever that movie is where the dog
no one
Homeward
touched
Bound.
her all
Homeward
day.
Bound.
That's what I know is no one caught her all day because she would be with us. Like she just was on her own all day having an adventure. I think, she probably chased something once she got out of the fence, got too far away, lost the scent, and then all day I think she was just lost and was like... probably went through modes of like having fun and sniffing to like being really scared and then eventually just got little whiffs of sense of the neighborhood and got back because there's no other reason because I was talking to Anya and she's like she just was out all day and I was like no, she would not have stayed, like she was hungry, she wanted to get back. There's no way she would have been out longer than 10 minutes ever. She's never gone that long. She definitely lost the scent and then she picked it up again because she's smart. She always knows like a mile away from my parents' house, she like knows, she can smell the air and like knows we're getting close. So she's smart, and she found her way back. But God damn it,
Every dog, I feel like every dog has one adventure like that in their
did
lifetime.
Jack ever get out?
Jack got out. Jack was. I was in New York on Long Island with Jack in the backyard, and my backyard in Long Island doesn't have a fence. Like, it has a fence around the back, but not on the side, so you can easily just walk out or walk in. And Jack never runs away. You know, Jack. He's just kind of like. But he was younger at the time, and he caught the scent of a squirrel and he started chasing it. And yeah, he wasn't gone for that long, but it was a little adventure where he just was
How
in
long?
the neighborhood, probably like an hour.
That's long.
Yeah, where he was like, he was out, and I was like, it took me like 10 minutes to realize, like, wait, where is he? And then, yeah, we got on bikes.
And then you found him that
Because
way.
we knew, like, he couldn't be that far away based on the amount of time he's been missing. But
So
he was
many
pretty
people
far.
Had stories about this.
Yeah.
Where their dog goes missing, and it was 8 hours. It was 9 hours. There was one that was like 3 days. So I was like not completely hopeless. I really
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is going to be one of those. But yeah, she came back with a pierced belly button and a little tattoo. She got a while. She's pregnant. Yeah. Sean sheepishly asked in the green room, is Goldie spayed or like neutered or whatever?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And he was like, good. I'm like, oh shit, you're right.
Because when dogs get away and they're not, they come back pregnant.
My God, if
my
that dog got
God.
pregnant, she's too widow to be pregnant. All right. So do we go to break or do we?
You can if you want to.
Can we do it and then we come back?
Sure.
Big announcement when we get back. We'll be right back after this. All right, I'm back. So, Besties, I have an announcement, and what?
Oh my God.
What?
I mean, it's just, this is like your dog goes missing suddenly.
Yeah, Besties, you're about to lose your dog, and I really hate to do this to you. There's no easy way to say this, so I just will say it. This is the last episode of the Nikki Glaser podcast, and that is a real sentence. It is true. The podcast is ending. I am so sorry to tell you this way. I know. I'm just going to let it sink in. I know that there's just no easy way to tell people when something is over. I could have told you weeks ago, but then you would have been sad then, and then you would have just been sad for 2 weeks. I think as a listener, I would be like, why did she wait till the last episode to tell us? That's really shitty. But I think ultimately, the episodes that follow an announcement that it's the last episode are not great.
Yeah.
There's a vibe that would be different. And so and just know that this was the way it had to happen, both from what I wanted to do and other forces. So this is how it's happening. And
Yeah.
I'm really sorry if it hurts you to hear that. And let's just talk about why. I think you probably already know. My life is gotten a lot more insane. It has been for a couple years now, but it is just into a different realm at this point of just demand and time consuming, and it's not like I don't enjoy this podcast. It's not like I don't look forward to it, because all of those things are still true. I just don't have the energy to I want to have the energy to love it every time I do it, and that's starting to wane for me. It's not at that point yet, but I could see with the like what I've got going on the rest of the year, it would have started to be taxing. And I don't want to give you a product that I'm showing up, and I don't want to make you the first show Hartford crowd where I'm getting through some sort of pain to deliver a product. I don't want that from my artists, and I don't think you would want that either. And I am very sad about it because this obviously is very special to me. I've been doing it for 4 years. And even before that, I have fans from the last podcast I did, You Up. I have fans from probably even the Not Safe podcast who have been listening to me podcast. And even before then, let's go to the one I did with Anya. I forget the name
Know
of it.
Nothing.
But even before, what was it?
We Know Nothing.
We Know Nothing. Yes, thank you. And then before that, You Had to Be There. Like, I've been podcasting for over 10 years. I've only taken a couple years break, I think, in that time. And I will again at some point in the future, but I need to have this break, and I will miss it because it is, you already know this, Besties. Like, I talk on this podcast in a way that I don't talk anywhere else in my life. I think you probably see me on things here and there. You come to see my stand-up and you go, oh, that's like the Nikki we know from the podcast, but it's not a place that I can't be this way and this open and this kind of free and loose anywhere else in my life. And I've really appreciated having that outlet. It's meant so much to me. I will miss it so freaking much. You don't even understand. I'm already like thinking of things I wanted to tell you this week. And I'm like, well, I can't fit it in because this is the goodbye episode. There's going to be times where I'm like, damn it, I wish I could tell the besties that. But the good news is that because of this, I'm going to be forced to inject that kind of person I am on this podcast that you love so much, because you might not be a fan of my other outlets of entertainment. You might be someone who goes, I like her podcast, I don't like her stand-up. I like her podcast, I don't like her on these shows or the roast. That's not her. I understand that because this is a different version of me that is more authentic, less manicured, literally. And I understand wanting and missing that, and I'll miss it in myself. So what I'm saying to you is that because of the void of this, you will start to see that vibe of me injected into the other things I do, because I will have to put them out there because I will miss putting it out here. So that means more TikToks that are more like this kind of vibe. Just more in my stand-up that's this kind of vibe. I just know that the Nikki that you know on this podcast that you're going to miss will show up in other places. And I understand if you don't want to support those places yet and you're going to be like, you know what, if she's not doing the podcast, I don't want to support her. It's totally your prerogative, and you can wait till I maybe podcast again in the future when I have the time and the energy for it. This isn't an iHeart thing. I have loved being at iHeart. They let me be who I want. They have never given me a single note. Almost to the detriment of them, to be honest with you. They should have. They have let me be myself. They have given me everything that I've ever wanted for this podcast. They've never forced guests on me. They have never forced me to do any kind of like marketing or campaign or anything like a lot of podcast networks do. Like I have been so lucky to be with them. Anytime any comedian asks me like, should I do a podcast with iHeart? I'm like, 100% yes. I don't even talk to them. They only deal with Noah, and Noah has loved her relationship with them. Like they let me be me, and that has been such a gift. And so I've gotten just to have on my friends that I love, and you've gotten to know through me. Like that's the one thing I won't miss about the podcast is people asking me if they can be a guest on the show and me having to explain that I only have on my friends. And then they go, but I'm your friend. And I go, I think you should reassess that statement. No, that's the one thing I was trying to think of, like, what won't I miss about the podcast? And that's the only thing is people being like, hey, I've got to promote this thing. Can I be on the podcast? And me having to ask Noah, like, how do I tell this person, like, I only have on my parents and my comedian friends who I like am most comfortable around, because this is a comedian friend. Like, that's the only thing I won't miss. It has never felt like a burden. It's always been fun. And I just have to move on for now, because I need to focus on the other things that are just in such demand in my life. And I hope you understand, and I hope you can kind of see it through your own life of like things you've had to let go that you love because you just can't fit it anymore. You know, like you love going to yoga, you love meditating, you love going to therapy, like things that are good for your soul that you like, they fall by the wayside when life gets busy. That's what's happening right now. Like this podcast is like it's felt like something that has been extra that I get to do that is so fun. It's never felt like work, but now it unfortunately I have to say goodbye to it, this version of it, for the foreseeable future. And I'm trying not to be trite about it. I'm trying to be matter of fact and like tell you the facts. And I'm sorry that I'm seemingly emotionless. I don't know if you just noticed earlier in the show, but I don't like to be emotional about things that are actually very painful. So I'm not letting in like the pain that I'm feeling around this, but just I promise you I am just as sad as you are. And I know that I'm in control of this, and it's this is my choice to stop the podcast. But I promise you it's going to make my life a lot like, this is work. And it's going to free me up to be mentally better for the people in my life. And I hope that you want that for me. And I promise you, you're going to find another podcast. There is another podcast out there for you. I'm not trying to be like, it's not you, it's me. And like, there's a better girl out there for you. There's maybe not. But there are other people doing podcasts that are just as honest, just as loose, just as silly as mine. Go to podcasts on Reddit and put out a post and say, here's what I like in a podcast, and people will recommend ones to you. I can't off the top of my head, like, I listen to Las Culturistas. I would really steer you towards that because it is like A+ banter and chit chat and like honesty.
Andrew's
Well,
podcast.
we call our
Puddles?
listeners besties because they're our best friends, and we started this
Yes.
podcast being best friends. And one of the things that make us best friends is that we support each other. And when you see your friend thriving, like, you want her or him to just get the most out of
And
it.
I
And you
know
have,
that's going to be the overall vibe. I know some people are going to be upset and really mad at me, and that's fine too, because this happens with best friends. But like, I would like to also say that's such a good reminder, Noah. Like best friends, you can move to a different city. This is like a best friend leaving your city. You're still going to see me in other ways. Like, we're still going to keep in touch. I'm not disappearing. It's going to be, but it's not going to be as frequent, right? And so that is, and it's sad and it sucks, but my husband got a job in another town and I have to move.
well, it's
and
you
gotta
that
make
got the
other
job.
friends.
You have such an exciting year ahead, and there's so many things that are coming down the pike that when
Oh,
people
that's right.
see them
Okay.
happen for
In my
you, they're going to
analogy,
be so
your
happy.
girlfriends get jobs themselves and they don't just follow where their husbands go. But I'm talking about your best friend in the late 80s. Yeah. Because that was the only reason you would lose her, is that her husband got a job in marketing in DC. But here's the other thing is, like, you just pick back where you left off as soon as it becomes possible to be best friends again. So like, I obviously will come back. I would bet everything on it that I will re-enter the podcast game at some point. I would love to do it with iHeart, listen up, like throw your hat in the ring when that's time to do that. I love you. I don't have any plans on that. I'm not thinking about another podcast. I'm not thinking about when. It is like, I am going to be single for a while and be someone who doesn't have a podcast. It might be a long while, I don't know, but when I'm ready to do that again, I hope you jump back on board. If you don't, I understand if you found someone else. Just know that I will really, really miss you guys, and that it doesn't have to end. Like, you can still come to my shows. You can still. A girl gave me a note on stage this weekend. I wouldn't recommend that because we're about to amp up security, and so rushing the stage at the end of the show might get you in trouble. But if you give it to the merch booth, they will deliver it to me.
Yeah,
right,
I always
Emily?
will get them. Yeah.
Okay. And then also we're gonna keep the Nikki Glaser Pod Instagram open. I'll still post things on that when I think of you guys and remember things. And you can still DM me. I mean, a lot of you already slipped in my DMs. There's ways to stay in touch, and I feel all the love, and I hope that our friendship doesn't have to end with this. I really just want you to look at this like your best friend is moving out of the country and that she's still alive, but you guys, your friendship isn't going to be as tight and as frequent anymore. But that doesn't mean that the
quality
connection
is
isn't there.
different. Right.
Yeah.
And I want to add that I'll be fine. Sean and Brian are in Nikki's writers team. They're still going to be collaborating. And then you'll have Emily on the road with you forever, and it'll be so fun.
And this was a decision, like, I would understand, like, if I was a listener and I'm like, oh, she's gotten new people in her life recently, and like maybe this is their influence or something. If you've been listening for the past few, like, year or whatever, like, all the people that have been added to my life, Brian, Sean, Emily, Taylor, Chris, like, all these people that have become major stays in my life, like, they're all like the best people ever. This isn't a decision that was like inspired by any of them or is taken me away from something. Like, this is literally coming from me. And I want to write movies. I want to make TV shows. I can't do that when I have other stuff going on. And I'm clearing space in my life, not just with the podcast, but with a lot of other things, to try other types of things in my life. So Brian, me, and Sean and Emily are all going to be producing stuff together. Noah is going to obviously stay in my life on Girls Chat. We have a friendship that is not even
Friendship's number one.
based on, what'd you say?
Our friendship is number one. Like, I totally forgot that we have to like even make that clear to people.
Season 8 of our friendship is starting December 3rd. That's the great part is, like, I think when you leave a job, you leave behind so many people that you worked with and saw every day. But like, my relationship with Noah is not going to change really at all. Like, the podcast was just something we did in addition to our friendship. Right. You know what I mean? So, and Noah's going to be fine. She is an incredible producer, and you will be able to find her work elsewhere, and we'll let you know about that when we can. I guess via our socials, Noah?
Yeah.
Will people know where to find? Okay, cool. And anything you guys would like to add? I'm sorry, I just monologized for half an hour.
I just can't believe that you did that whole announcement without once mentioning Darfur. That's really upsetting.
Perfect.
No, I do want to say thank you. I mean, I came in midstream on this podcast. I wasn't a Not Safe podcast, so I guess to some people I was familiar, but to a great 85% of them, I was a stranger. And, maybe some people hated me at the beginning and then came around. To those people, thank you. But yeah, I appreciate being embraced by the besties. I got so many nice messages over the last 2 years from besties saying, nice things about me, or even just helping me out when I'm searching for a mattress or getting my gallbladder removed or whatever the fuck I was dealing with. And yeah, this is a great, incredible group of fans.
It is.
And such nice people. And I'm just so happy that
they're special, right?
They're
you feel
an incredible
it, right?
group of fans.
It's different. I want to give you guys credit for that, because you're just probably one fan and you don't understand the group that you're in, or maybe you have met them at shows or in subreddits or whatever. But you're all just different than all my other fans. I know I've always told you that, but you know me better than some. Best friends outside this room don't know me as well as you guys know me. If you listen to the podcast, you are a ride or die. I will always love you. I will always love you for loving me when I've been at my worst on this podcast, when I've come in bad moods and depressed, and I was always allowed to be myself. I never feared the backlash from you guys. You don't know how freeing that is as an artist. I do not take it for granted. Did I get it right? Usually I say granted because I try to do the opposite of the one. You
got it.
I really don't. I hope you stay with me. I hope you follow me wherever I go next. I hope you support the other things I do. But it's okay if you don't. I'll be okay. But and you have every reason to be so upset and so disappointed. Let that in. But I was thinking about this and I was like, God, I don't want to disappoint them. I was just oh, how do I say this? Do I really do this? I just don't want people to be mad at me, especially not besties who have the best hearts. And why would I be giving up on this whole group of this fan base that has been so supportive through thick and thin? And it's I just was you know what? My favorite things have all ended at some point, and I've had to get used to Seinfeld being in my life in a different way than the show Seinfeld. And I've had to watch comedians in cars, yeah. Or I've had to Friends ended, and that was devastating. Veep ended, things that have mattered. Succession, you guys have worked through me. With White Lotus this season, I am so obsessed with White Lotus in a way that I know besties are obsessed with this podcast. I am wrapped up in it. It's going to, things end, everything ends, and that's not me being flippant about it, but just know that I've been through this before with things that I love, and so I'm commiserating with you, and I understand, and even the way I feel about this podcast is different than the way you feel about it, and so I understand what a loss this is to some of you, and I also understand that some of you are this is the first episode I've listened to. Chill out, bitch.
I would say most people probably have not heard every single episode of this podcast, or of all of your podcasts, and a lot of the episodes are evergreen. It's not you have to know, it's not topical stuff about Barack Obama or something.
You can go back.
You can go back and listen.
Relive the days.
And I think we'd be remiss to not mention Andrew here and how important, impactful he was for the first 2.5 years of the podcast.
And he'd be here right now, but he moved to New York.
So yeah, he moved to New York.
Got to be the only one who's not fine.
But he's also moved on to a new chapter in his life. I wonder, can you call him? Would he?
I would love to. The thing is, Andrew I wanted on here, but he just moved to New York.
Yeah.
The way you guys handled Andrew leaving the show and then Brian taking his place, and that really was extraordinary, because that was a rough part of the show for me as well. That all came out. That was not what I wanted, and Brian was what I wanted ultimately when there was a space for him. But Andrew leaving, that wasn't anything anyone wanted, and it was uncomfortable. And so we've been through some shit on this show, and you guys rolled with it, and you accepted me, and I just really appreciate you so much. And you've seen me through a crazy change in my life, and you've loved everyone that I've introduced you to. You love my parents, you love my boyfriend, you love my friends, you love Taylor, you love my sister, you love my brother-in-law. It's you love my dogs. I really appreciate the love. It feels like family, and I'm gonna really miss connecting with you all twice a week. We're gonna get Andrew on the phone, and I want you to know I love you a lot, and it doesn't have to change. You can still comment on my stuff. I'll read it sometimes.
The person you're trying
Andrew, I'll text him. Will you text?
Andrew.
Yep. Thank you so much, Emily. Yeah. So but yeah, I'm so sorry to tell you this way. This is a Glaser exit. You guys know I don't like goodbyes. I worked on it with my therapist. She said that when I left her, I had to go to 3 sessions before I left her. But I think that was just a way to get me to like, to convince me to stay.
Yeah.
But she was like, you don't like goodbyes. You say them very quick and then you leave. I don't. Who does? Like, why do people like to revel in like, I don't like this. Like, I'm already getting like emotional talking about it too much. It's embarrassing to cry. Oh, Andrew's calling back. Yes. Andrew?
Yo.
Hey, it's the last podcast. I just told the besties it's the last one. I broke the news. We're talking about the show. We're reminiscing about the good times. And obviously you were a huge part of the show and even continued to be in the end. And I just wanted to know if you had anything to say to the besties.
What show?
F-Boy Island 3, yeah.
The Andrew and Nikki show? I was happy to have you on and be part of it. You're an up-and-comer. I saw something in you that no one else saw.
Damn.
You didn't get
Thanks,
passed
man.
Anywhere, and I was like, you know what? This person needs this. And it was a pleasure.
Oh.
No, it was honestly the best year and 8 months of my life. I really did enjoy it. And, I mean, well, maybe that was a little far, but I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, the last couple months of that year and 8 months wasn't. We were headed for divorce, but now we're good.
Yeah, now we're good. I mean, it can only go up from those last 2 months. No, it really was incredible, and the besties were great, and we really. I just remember every once in a while. We'll be like, it's Wednesday, folks. You know what that means, or whatever. Just like the little terms that we came up with.
Yep.
And it felt like a piece in time that doesn't even feel real because it was like COVID. And
Yeah, you moved to
know.
St. Louis to start the podcast with me. We started in the Cayman Islands.
Forest Park, but yeah. Yeah.
But we started the show when we were filming F-Boy 1, and we couldn't even talk about F-Boy 1. We were in the Cayman Islands. Isn't that where we started the show? We did the show everywhere. We did the show in Europe. We did the show in Cabo. We did the show in, where were we doing F-Boy 3, Lovers and Liars? Up in Malibu. We've done this. I've done the show from so many different hotels. But you moved to St. Louis to start the podcast, and you lived there and met your wife there because of this podcast.
Wow.
I don't mean to take credit, but you're welcome.
Yes. I mean, I think why I didn't give you a speech at my wedding, because I thought that's what you would say. No, honestly, yeah, it definitely was a life shift and a career shift. And I think doing 4 shows a week with you, I don't know.
It started out as 4 shows a week, which was insane. And I know everyone's like, why don't you just whittle it down to one show a week? Guys, let's not play that game. I've been through that already. Don't play that game with me. But yeah, it was so much fun. And it almost feels like I'm trying to remember the best times. And I swear to God, it almost feels like when you're trying to remember your best times of high school or something. And it's like, it's like, it just was like hanging out. Like it was just the best hangs. And I always just felt like all the besties, you're always there like with us listening. It's like, it's a conversation that involves you even though you're not there. And so I always feel you. You're always with us. And yeah, this isn't that sad. I mean, it is. I don't want to take away people's feelings, but
Oh, no, I have cancer.
Okay, good. I'm so glad something is. I mean, you will eventually, but you might as well announce it now.
Eventually.
Won't we all?
In between 2 and 3, I just don't have health care, but we'll figure it out.
God. How is New York, by the way?
We just moved into our place, and we're in the Upper West Side. You know this place called Central Park? It is, I think I went 5 times in 10 years. It really is like the best place on earth, and I never...
What are you doing
Yeah,
there?
maybe if you're not John Lennon.
First of all, John Lennon shot himself, and
Shit.
I actually walked by that building the other day, and I was like, Brenna, there's John Lennon got shot right there. And she's like, was he the drummer?
No.
It means a lot to a younger generation.
Wait, Emily.
It's not even our generation.
What did John Lennon do in the Beatles?
I didn't even know that.
He was in the Beatles.
Wait, what? What?
I don't know who that is.
John Lennon?
I know who John Legend is.
Different guy.
All right, keep the podcast going.
Oh my God. Wow. I'm not, I'm never one to be like, Emily, come on. You need to
You
know
just did that this weekend.
But that was with, what was that with?
It was a comedian that I definitely should
George
not have
Carlin.
known. Why would I know who that is?
Yeah, well, if you're not in comedy, I don't think my wife knew George Carlin either.
Well,
before.
no, I did.
Thank you.
No, I think that was. I don't think I just go. You need to get to like I understood, but John Lennon, I don't understand why you don't know that.
Yeah, no,
Right?
that-
No, there was one. It was Marie Antoinette was one where you didn't know, and I go, that's not because I grew up with her.
You act like for a certain generation.
But I know Henry, right? That's Henry's wife?
What I think so.
No,
I mean,
King Louis.
okay, thank
Yeah.
you, Sean. I mean, like I just
knew
know
Henry.
about cake and stuff.
I remember when Napoleon was coming to power, and it was really impactful.
Mick
in my
Jagger?
high
Do you know
school
Mick
years.
Jagger?
Duh.
What
Because-
band?
Don't know.
Okay.
The Jagger Boys.
The Jaggerettes. Jagger and the
Maroon 5
Jaggerettes.
has a song about him.
I just want
Moves like Jagger.
I just want to say it is truly wild that you don't know who John Lennon is, but like right before we started going, like, we got to introduce you to Tate McRae.
Oh my
We got to do a
God.
Tate deep dive.
Yeah,
do,
right before
like-
the podcast, Emily was like, "Don't worry, Sean. We're gonna do a Tate McRae deep dive very soon."
Because you guys always say it to me, but I can never say it to you.
That's true.
I know,
We
but
don't
Tate
allow
McRae
it.
You're not
isn't a
willing.
Beetle.
Yeah,
She might be.
Like a
One
maybe
day.
Volkswagen Beetle.
she's not a beetle.
I'm open to
Emily
hearing
says
about
she
it.
might be. As saying from someone who doesn't know what a beetle is, like you were almost thinking of it as like the way that you could be like, she's like a legend.
Yes.
You know, like she could be a beetle. No, she can't. She literally can't. It was a band in the '60s. Oh my God, Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Okay, what was he?
He played the guitar?
Yeah, but he was in the Beatles.
Okay.
Do you know the Beatles?
Yeah.
Can you name a song?
There's a song like Love in it, right?
Yep.
I think most of them.
Yeah, honestly, that's
Or
a
every song
Is
from
there a
that
Vegas
decade
Beatles
had
show?
Yeah.
a Vegas. Yeah, there's a show called Love in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
They were throwing around the word love, like they were really love bombing the 1960s.
They really were. It was all
No, like,
love
I know
me
who they
do, love,
are.
love, love. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, I know who a lot of these people are.
Yeah.
ish. Yeah. Okay, well, Andrew, we're gonna say goodbye, but thank you so much for.
No.
Oh, this is
Oh
the
God,
Zoom
here we
all
go
over
again.
with the Zoom.
You know that I have the power to hang up on you, right? So you want to say your goodbyes?
Do you?
Yes.
Do you?
Yeah.
You want that?
Yeah, I
You
do.
want to get canceled?
Oh my God! Don't
You
do
want to
this
get
to me.
canceled? You want to get John
What are you
Lennon?
gonna do
Want John
in?
Legend?
What are you gonna do? What are you
You
gonna
want to
do?
get John Legend?
Wait. So what
What
are
am I
you?
going to do when?
What are you doing in Central Park today?
I already walked around the Jacqueline Kennedy Reservoir.
Okay.
It's not a lake. And if you call it a lake, people call you dumb. I learned that.
Okay.
I'm going to probably get fed by some pigeons. And
Wait, you're fed by pigeons?
yeah, pigeons are out.
He's turning it on its
They're
head.
different now. They might be
Pigeons
AI,
are
but they're
power.
feeding me. And then I'm
Okay.
going to probably go to the John Legend Museum and walk around. Sing about love. Okay, well, thanks for having me on. Thanks for thinking of me.
Yeah.
And I miss
Always love
guys,
you,
and
buddy.
Hope to see you all soon.
All right. Love you, Andrew. Bye. Okay. So, final thought. It's over.
This is truly the final thought.
This is truly the final thought. The final thought is life will go on. Nothing really is going to change except you're not going to have this like bi-weekly. Is it bi-weekly? No, I think that's what
I
you
never
say
know
if
what
it's
the right
every
thing
2
is.
weeks.
I think that's what people like. I always said bi-weekly for every 2 weeks, but I think bi-weekly
Means twice a week?
Yeah, twice a week.
Okay.
Yeah, bi-weekly.
This
Okay.
bi-weekly podcast, you
That's
will
what
have
a
this
pigeon told me.
internal. they feed you knowledge. You're not. The only thing that's going to change is that you're not going to have this like access to me. But just know that I'm all right, and that we have a friendship that transcends a podcast listener relationship. Especially if you've listened to more than, I would say, 5 episodes, I'm like, you're in with me. You will always, if you ever see me, I'm saying like 30 years from now when I'm old and gray and you see me in an airport getting wheeled down the runway by a nice man, and I'm muttering to myself, and you can say, hey, I'm a bestie, and I'll spit at you because I'm having cognitive decline. But just know somewhere deep inside me, in my subconscious, I feel a deep affection for you. No, I'm serious. Like, saying you're a bestie to me in public, if you ever see me, and like, at a show, like cheering a certain way, just like I can tell when there's a bestie. But if you ever run into me in public, just know that you could always ask for a picture. You can always have a conversation with me. You have a VIP access to my heart and my time that other fans do not have forever. You have that as a bestie. All you have to do is have listened to 5 or more episodes of the show and heard this statement. But it's true. Like the rest of my life, no matter how famous I get, and I have bodyguards or something crazy, like if there's a bestie, I will say, let her in. Let's get over here. Shoot me. You can, no, please don't hurt me. But you guys are like my friends. There's not like a wall up that I sometimes have to put up for other fans. And I don't mean to say that means you can, let's just be cool about it. You know what I mean? But like, just know that you guys are the real ones. I know you're the real ones. It will never change. That will never change. And that someday we will have this relationship again in another way, because podcasting and being this intimate with people and talking long form is what I'm about. I just have to take a break from it right now. And I don't know how long that break will be. It might be years and years and years. Just like buckle up though. And just know that I'll let you back in and when I am ready to. And I love you. And I'm sorry that I ended it so abruptly. But I think in the end, that was actually what was for the best. Because I don't like to wallow in goodbyes. And maybe that's something I need to work on. And you can write me and tell me that it is. But that is, I'll work on it. I'm an ever-changing person. I don't do things perfectly, and that's what this podcast has been about more than anything, is that I have been a complete mess, and you guys have still accepted me, and I don't say things that are right. I am not always eloquent. I say dumb things that in retrospect, I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. I should take that out. I left it in. And this is another one of those. So if I fucked up this goodbye, just know it's like in line with everything else this podcast was about. And you should expect no less from me. I want to just give some thank yous to iHeart before we leave and say goodbye forever. And not forever, just in this format. I want to thank Connell Byrne, Will Pearson, Carrie Lieberman at iHeart Podcast, obviously Will Farrell and the Big Money Players, Jack O'Brien. Thank you so much, Jack, and all the comedy team at Big Money Players. You guys have been so supportive. It's been awesome being a part of that select group of amazing comedy podcasts. That's where you should go to supplement if you haven't already. Thank you, Nathan Otoski, for having us at the Super Bowl, for all of the marketing duties that you've done to make this
That
podcast
was
work and
dream
make money.
come true for me. Thank you for that.
Thank
Jesus
you, Nathan.
Christ.
Ad sales team, Christine Jordan, thank you so much for keeping this podcast going, and to all of the companies throughout the years who I've done ads for. Thank you for being so cool and never giving me notes about how I do my ads. That's been really helpful. And to everyone on the video team that has made this accessible on YouTube, Mark Cantin, shout out Mark. Thank you for all the Zooms that you stayed on with us to set up cameras and shots, and always so kind. Kelly Petronis and Lean and Loaf is that's not a person's name, that's a company that has helped with the video. I hope Leanne Loaf was a person's name. Lean and Loaf. Yep. And then for audio purposes, to make this sound so good and to fix all of our problems that we may have had with air conditioners running and stuff like that, I want to thank Chris Zichek. Krzyzewczyk. I think that's how you say it, right? And then obviously, Noah, thank you so much for all of the work that you've done on this podcast behind the scenes. It's an immense amount of work producing a podcast. You've always made it seem you've never, like, she's the best producer that a person could ever dream of. Like, always, never, so many times I would have ads that like I should have given her the day before and she gets me extensions. She's never once made me feel bad about anything. She's never once communicated that on her end things are really stressful, and like she is just such a pro, has always been so supportive of everything I do, always looking out for me of like, hey, maybe let's talk about this, maybe let's not talk about this, but is always so gentle in presenting that. She's been an amazing friend, an amazing part of the show. Let's not even forget that. And so I just want to thank you so much for all the work that you've put into it that I don't even know about. Like, I know it's like, and through your pregnancy, through being a new mom, through moving to Tucson, through
getting
your
married.
marriage, like we've, I mean, so many life changes, and
but I can only
you've
do
just
my
been just
job as
this-
good as I do because I work with such a wonderful person. And I want to thank Brian also for being so helpful in all these situations, getting to meet Sean and Emily. And it was awesome working with Andrew and him sending me
Yes.
files and stuff the best he can. I just had the best time.
Thank you so much, Brian, for coming into the show, and like at a time where like people are like, what's going on, and just riding with it and being such a fun like person to talk at, and you never made it about you, even though a lot of comedians would. Like,
He's very humble
with being an amazing co-host in a way that you've never made me feel bad about talking over you when I know I have a bazillion times and I felt bad on my own. But you just like have always been so supportive, such a good friend, so funny. Besties love you. Everyone's fallen in love with you. So thank you so much for
Thank
riding
you.
this out
Thank
with
you
me.
for having me. It was so cool to hang out.
Yeah, it really was.
And what an incredible time capsule in your life these last 2 years.
true.
To have like bi-weekly recaps of these moments. Like, I do think this is something you'll look back on for a long time. To be able to just go back and listen to the day after the roast in like a comfortable setting. It's not like
Yeah.
you're on Good Morning America.
No.
You're here like talking to your friends. To go back and listen to the day after the Globes.
Oh my God.
These are going to be
yes.
things that you look back on like in 30 years when you're demented and you're spitting on people.
I mean, truly, like I was thinking about, I went through like breakups, falling in love, like having immense bouts of depression, immense bouts of elation, COVID, like there were so many things I went through on this podcast, and whether or not I was talking explicitly about them, like I was able to like emote and get it out on the show, and I felt accepted. And even when the podcast wasn't at its best, because I wasn't at my best, you guys like hung in there, and maybe we lost a few of you, but like I just always felt like you can come and go, and like they accept me, and it's just. It's really rare that an artist gets this kind of platform, and that's what makes podcasting so special to me, at least, is it just feels so intimate. It's such a good friendship, and it's just different than like fan artist connection. It's better than that, and yeah.
Final shout out is to Anya, who was also here for so much of this and also made the theme song to the podcast.
Anya's theme song is such an earworm in the best sense of that word. People love it so much. Keep singing it. And Anya, thank you to Anya for being on so many episodes of the show and being such an integral part to just the fabric of this show through the years, and just is
Woven
someone I can
in.
always like talk about, and the besties just know instantly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Girls chat, shout out to all of them. They all listen. They've always been supportive. And Sean, thank you for joining the show in these last few months and being such a regular and fun addition. Like people just fallen in love with you as well.
It's an honor. It's an honor, and I'm sorry I'm not gay to the listeners.
People really disappointed you're not gay. And then thank you to Emily for running my shit. And also Emily is a bestie. So it was important for me to talk to her a lot these past couple weeks when we were planning this last episode. I know it seems like it's unplanned, but this was like, I did give it a lot of thought of what I was going to say. Whether I hit all those points, I don't know. But Emily was, I really talked to her about like what the besties want. And I'm grateful that it was in line with what I thought that they would want. But yeah, so you, in my inner circle, you have someone representing you, besties, in Emily, who's going to keep me on.
Was a bestie before.
Yes, and who
That's
is
what's important, yeah.
Yes, and who is going to keep me that same person that you know and love, and is turned into my best friend who is with me all the time, and I'm in good hands with a bestie. I literally have a bestie working for me now. Through this podcast is how she even ended up working for me, right? Like, is that how you knew?
I mean, that's how I first knew of you, was from this podcast.
Amazing.
And here we are, and I'm only Gen Z M because of this.
Yeah.
Like at the shows, like
She
when
knew
people
you,
say
not
Gen
John
Z M, and like that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
So thank you guys so much. This is just goodbye for now, and I love you so much. Jackpot, squirt, squirt, don't be bye.
And just
keep in touch and wait for me, because I'll be back in some way, and I love you so much. Bye, guys.